During these strange and trying times, it's key that we help out each other and our community as much as possible to return to some form of normalcy. And I'm here to remind you about one big way you can help out your community right now by voting for the 2021 ACS annual school budget. Many of you have already voted. There may be some of you that still have some questions regarding the new voting method or about the budget itself if you're a first-time voter. Well, have no fear, because I sat down with Alden Superintendent Adam Stoltman to clear up some confusions about this year's budget voting.
The method in which we're going to be obtaining those votes is, as I mentioned, through absentee ballots. So the format is that any registered voter in Erie County, Genesee County, or Wyoming County will receive an absentee ballot at home. They're asked to complete that absentee ballot, sign their name on the back as an affidavit that they are who they are, and mail it back to the district or get it back to the district by June 9th at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. At 5 o'clock, the voting will stop, and we will begin to count those ballots. The total budget's $35,700,000. The program component is the largest component, and that has to deal with instruction, and that's just over $27 million. The administrative component is about $3.4 million, and the capital component is $5.1 million thereabouts. The second proposition is to amend our current transportation program and guidelines. And really what that is we've got about 35 students currently this school year that walk to the intermediate school. And we've got the entire grades, primary school grades K through 2. Anybody that resides in the village is provided transportation to the primary school. What we're asking the community to weigh in on is whether or not we can pick those intermediate school students up at the same time we're picking primary school students up and safely deliver them to the intermediate school. $395,000 for the purchase of buses for our transportation department. This money would be coming out of a reserve that we have to purchase buses. Every couple years, we put a proposition on there to update our fleet. Typically, we will update our fleet or replace buses that have over 100,000 miles and or 10 years of service. And we do that through authorization by the voters to expend money out of our capital reserves. The last proposition is something very similar, is to expend monies to purchase buildings and grounds equipment. In the past, we've used this to purchase lawnmowers, plows, pickup trucks, what have you. Again, that money does not come out of our normal operating budget. It's money in a reserve that that the taxpayers approve, and then they approve the creation of that reserve, but also they need to approve the expenditures out of that reserve. It has absolutely no impact on the current tax increase that we're asking the voters in Proposition 1 to consider authorizing. As I said, the monies that are put in those reserves to expend through these propositions come about in any savings that we have from year to year. The board could say, you know what, we're going to take some of that money and we're going to put it into a transportation reserve or a buildings and ground reserve. And they make that decision typically in late July or August once we close the books from 1 year. Currently, right now at our primary school, there are roofs being replaced. There is a new parking lot and drop-off loop over at the primary school on Broadway. At the intermediate school, middle school, there are roofs that are being replaced. There are science classrooms that are being done. And of course, here at the high school, there's the new aquatic center being done, along with some roof work and mechanical work that's being done. The monies that are being expended for these projects were, as I mentioned, approved back in December 2017. And we utilized a capital reserve, much like the propositions that we talked about with the bus and the buildings and grounds. We utilized a capital reserve to offset any local part of that cost. Um, 18-year-olds are absolutely eligible to vote in the school budget. A, they're 18 years old, and B, so long as they've resided in the district for 30 days, they're eligible to participate. But it goes beyond 18-year-olds. That's anybody. What we're learning, and we're getting phone calls, there are many people here in the Alden Central School District that aren't registered voters. So they're not receiving an absentee ballot because that's the only list that we had to go off of. So I would encourage anybody that's not a registered voter to please contact the district clerk, Miss Tracy Rogers, at 937-9116, extension 4171, to make arrangements to receive an absentee ballot.
For more information, visit the district homepage at www.aldenschools.org or click the link in the description to take you to the Alden 2021 budget newsletter. I'm Matt Robertson, reporting for WACS News.